All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our Hunt Research Tools 101 Masterclass tonight. We'll really get into it in just a couple minutes here. We want to give everybody some time to get logged in and get situated. So while we're waiting, just a couple of housekeeping items. Your audio and video are turned off, so we can't see or hear you. So no worries if you have noise behind you. If you do have questions, we have a few members of the team here answering questions in the Q&A box. So you have kind of two options for sending messages in. There's the chat and there's the Q&A. Chat is great for just letting us know who you are, where you're tuning in from, things like that. It's not great for asking questions, it's just difficult for us to keep track of them in there. So use that Q&A box and we'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can. If you do have questions pertaining to like your onX account, like something with a password or your renewal date or something like that, we don't have the ability to really answer those tonight. So do send us an email though if you have kind of other topics you have questions about. Our email address is help@onxmaps.com. That's going to be the best place to go for all of those. We are going to give away some gear at the end of this class. Some of our brand new stuff. You guys are going to get first crack at it, so stick around for the end of that. We'll be posting the giveaway link in the chat towards the end of the class, so you do have to be present to enter that, and then we'll draw the winners tomorrow. I guess with that, looks like we've got quite a few folks in here already. I guess introductions are in order. My name's Jack Headland. I'm a member of the marketing team here at onX based out of our Missoula office. And in a moment here, I'm going to throw it over to Paul Ronto, who is the Hunt Research Tools guru, I guess. And he's going to be taking us through, the bulk of the presentation here. So Paul, how's it going tonight?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. Guru is a strong word, but I'll take it. I'm excited. It's application season. It's time to apply for those hunts. We're all going to hopefully go on in the fall. And so it's exciting. It's exciting to think about where are we going to go hunt all across the West. So yeah, I'm pumped. And I appreciate all you guys that are logging in. It looks like we got 150 or so already here. Yeah, Jack, tell us a little bit about what you're hoping to do this fall, and what you're applying for.
Well, I'm hoping it's going to be the fall of the antelope or pronghorn for me. My brother, who lives in Minnesota, has never hunted antelope before, so we're hoping he's got enough points to draw in Montana, and I should have enough to draw as well. And then also going to be putting in for Wyoming. So that's kind of eats up that portion of October. Lucky to live in Montana where I get over the counter elk and deer tags. So September will be elk hunting and November will be some deer hunting. And you might hear her around here. I have my German wire-haired pointer poking around underneath the table here. So we always have to do a healthy portion of bird hunting. So luckily don't have to apply for too many tags for birds. So we can just go for those.
Well, that's awesome. That sounds like a good fall. Hopefully you guys get some tags. Um, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't know what I'm going to do for antelope, but I've got 8 or 9 points in Colorado, so it's probably time to start using them before some of these changes come into effect that are happening in the next few years in Colorado. So yeah, probably on an antelope hunt as well. All right. Well, we're about 4 minutes past the half hour, so I think we can kick this thing off and get going. People can trickle in. Um, just want to make sure, Jack, if you'll give me a thumbs up, make sure I'm still presenting here. All right, cool. Well, welcome everybody. Like Jack said, my name is Paul. I'm a product manager here at onX, and I run our draw odds tool or our research and planning tool called onX Hunt Research Tools. It is where you're going to go to start your research, and that's what this whole webinar tonight is all about. So we're going to help you guys learn the tool, and we're going to help you guys understand how to use some of these tools to be able to not only get an advantage during your application season, but feel confident in what you're applying for. So a couple things to start. So we're going to go over the masterclass schedule that's coming up. So there's lots of these master classes that we do. Jack runs a bunch of them, and so we'll go over what's coming up next. We'll talk a little bit about developing an application strategy. We're going to do a live demo of Hunt Research Tools. We're going to talk a little bit about state regs and why it's crucial to understand your regs and why to always check your regs before you apply, and specifically before you go out into the field. And then we're going to talk about some onX Hunt application season resources that you get with your onX Elite membership. And then we're going to give you guys some deals. There's a deal that we have on some of our onX swag. We'll have time for some question and answers that I'll do live. So you guys can keep asking questions in that Q&A button down at the bottom of your screen. But we'll also pick a couple and answer some live questions at the end. And then the last thing we'll do is the hunt giveaway. So if you're sticking around to the end, we've got a hunt giveaway that we're going to do as well. So that's on the docket. We'll be here for about an hour. Hopefully we got plenty of time at the end to answer those questions. Let's see here. First off, again, just to reiterate, if you just joined, if you need specific help with your onX Hunt app, please reach out to our help team. This isn't really the right place to ask for help about your membership or why you can't get the app to load or maybe how to turn a layer on and off. This masterclass is really about how to use onX Hunt research tools. So give our CX team, our customer support team, a call. There's the number. Also, questions that are really specific about like, hey, I have 13 points for elk in Colorado. What unit should I apply for? Those are really too specific for this webinar. This is really a 101 on how to use the tool. If you have those questions, as an onX Elite member, you've got access to Hunt and Fool. They have a ton of information, and Hunt and Fool actually does one-on-one consults and will help you figure out your application. That's not that's something that they charge for, but they're a great resource. So again, if you've got specific questions that are outside of the realm of how to use our tool, here's your resources. Take a picture of this screen. We'll also be able to send this to you if you guys ask us in the chat. Our guys on the chat side can send you any of these links. So let's see here. So the next upcoming master classes, or the next few are coming up in April. We've got a using onX Hunt app for turkey hunting. Turkey hunting season's right around the corner for most of the states. Some states down south have already kicked off, like Florida. So that's a great one to join. And then obviously a Hunt 101, which is how to master using the onX Hunt app. That one's going to be on 4/9. So if you go to our website, onxmaps.com/hunt/masterclasses, you can see all of these and you can register for them. Also, the good news is if you can't make any of these, or if you want to rewatch this one from tonight, we put these on our YouTube channel, and I'll discuss that a little bit later at the end of this masterclass. But you can always go to our YouTube channel and you can see all of the past masterclasses. And actually, that's my next slide. So past classes are live on our YouTube channel. You can see once you get onto our YouTube channel, there's a masterclass playlist, and you can see all the past masterclasses to go watch. One of the benefits of coming to these live is you can ask questions in the Q&A. We'll answer some questions live, and we usually always do a giveaway or have some sort of deal at the end. Whereas if you watch these on YouTube, you can't really get involved in the giveaway. And sometimes the deals have run out. So it's good to come to these live. But if you're wondering about application season stuff, we had 2 master classes already this year about application season with our partners at Hunt and Fool, which are great to go back and watch. We had one about the changes to the draw in Colorado. That one, our partners over at Hunt and Fool did an amazing job covering all the changes that are happening this year and then the big changes that are coming in 2028. And then we also did a webinar with Hunt and Fool that talked about Western big game applications for beginners. So if this is your first time applying in the West, or maybe you've applied a bunch of times in Montana or Colorado, but want to branch out to other Western states, that's a great one to watch as well. Each state has obviously different application processes. They have different point systems. So you can go to our YouTube channel and watch all of this and catch up on them. Okay. First off, why is it important to I think you can hear my dog back there barking. We must have the mailman must be here. So hopefully he'll calm down here in a second. Give me one sec. There we go. So first off, why is it important to develop your application strategy? First off, we've got a bunch of tools, but the most important thing is to stay organized. So there's a whole bunch of different deadlines. There's a whole bunch of different fees. There's accounts and passwords for every state. There's hunt dates that differ. And so it's really important to understand all of this stuff. So when you apply, you don't have overlapping hunts. You don't have hunts where you've paid for two hunts and you can't be in two states at once, obviously. And so it's really important to stay organized and have a plan. A lot of people go into application season without a plan, and a lot of times that can bite you in the butt. Um, the other thing is there's draw tags, so limited opportunity tags, and then there's OTC, over the counter hunts. And it's really important to know what these are and what states you need to draw and what states you could potentially go and hunt over the counter. Like Colorado, Colorado's got a bunch of over the counter opportunities for residents and non-residents for elk. And so, you could potentially last minute come to Colorado for a rifle season if you're a non-resident and pick up an elk tag at Walmart or a gas station and go hunt the next day. Whereas other Western states, you have to draw them. And so it's really important to know which states you can draw and which states have over-the-counter opportunities. If you miss the draw in the spring in some states, you're out of luck. Also, applying in multiple states. This can get expensive. This can get challenging. Every state has different rules about what you need to qualify for a license to be able to apply. Season dates overlap. So again, make sure that you really understand your season dates, your cost structure. Some states require you to pay for the tag upfront, which can be really expensive. Some states require you just to pay a $10 or $12 application fee. So those ones are a little more accessible to be able to apply in. So again, learning all the nuances of what state processes look like is really important. Um, the last thing is, like, a lot of people just hunt the same old unit every year, and changes throughout the states can make the same old unit either a bad option, not the best option, or maybe just it's time to branch out and try something else. I actually hunted the same unit for 18 years here in Colorado. And then in 2022, we had a big winter kill. 80%, 89% of that herd up in the northwest corner got killed off by winter kill. And that unit lost all its quota the next year. It was really hard to draw. The herd health was down. And so I had to change units and I had to start over from scratch after really learning a place for 18 years. So it's really important to really understand access, quotas, hunting pressure, and these changes that happen from year to year, because your same old unit might not be an option next year. Some states like Colorado that used to do an over-the-counter archery hunt for non-residents, this year's the first year there's no more over-the-counter archery bull tags. So you have to draw them. And so these kind of changes make it important to understand so you can draw and be successful. Some of the other things to understand are preference points versus bonus points and how those systems work differently. Every state has a different system. Some states have multiple systems. I'm from Colorado, so I use this as an example a lot, but we have a preference point system for elk, deer, antelope, bear, turkey. But we have a weighted preference point system, which is totally different, almost acting like a bonus point system in a sense for moose, sheep, and goat. And so understanding those differences is really important. Another thing that I'm going to show you in the tool is understanding the preference point break-even level. So this preference point break-even level in preference point states is the number of points that it takes to potentially have an opportunity at a tag. And so with preference point hunts, there's usually three options. Either there's a 0% chance to get that tag. That's usually anything under the preference point level, the break-even point. There's the break-even point level where you have some sort of odd between 1 and 100 of getting that tag. And then the third option is 100%. That's usually if you have more points than the break-even level. This doesn't make sense a lot when I'm talking about it, but I'll show you in the tool how that works and give you some examples there. Also, resident versus non-resident. This is super important to understand. Every state has differences between resident and non-resident applicants. For Wyoming example, in Wyoming, for example, residents use a random draw. There's no points for deer, elk, pronghorn, but non-residents do have a point system. So they're on a preference point system, and non-residents have a preference point system plus a special preference point system plus a random draw. So there's a lot of nuance to really understand. Usually residents have better draw odds. There's more tags. There's usually a split between the quota. Some states give 25% of tags to non-residents. Some states only give 10% to non-residents. And so it's really important to know those differences as a non-resident. It might be better to, let's say, apply in a state like Colorado, where you can get 25% of tags that are dedicated to potential non-resident applicants versus a state like, let's say, New Mexico or Arizona, where that percentage is smaller. And then draw odds data. This is a big question we get all the time, is when are you going to update your draw odds data? You'll see in our tool, we have a little tag that says the date for each of our draw odds results. And right now it says 2024. And everyone asks, when are you going to update to 2025? Well, 2024 is the most recent year for our draw data. This is mainly because the 2025 draw hasn't happened yet. I'm going to take 1 second and text my wife and get her to stop that dog from barking. And yeah, so ultimately 2024 is the most recent data. These odds and all these odds tools are not predictive. They're not telling you what the draw odds for this upcoming draw are going to be. They're telling you what the draw odds were last year, and they'll show you historical trends going backwards multiple years. And as long as there's no big changes like changes to quota due from winter kill or changes, mass influx and changes of applicants, you can expect that trend to stay somewhat consistent. And I'll show you in the tool where you can see this trend line and the trending data. So then you can estimate what are my odds this year of being able to draw this tag based on the draw odds and the draw situation from the last few years. Predictive draw odds are really hard to do, and they're not there's challenges in being able to say what the odds are going to be. A lot of states like Colorado don't post quotas for their tags until after the draw has happened on most species. They do on some species like sheep and goat, but all the rest of the species, you can't find the quota anywhere until after the draw has happened. And so the best thing we can do is look at last year and the last 5 years and really look at those trend lines. So again, 2024 is the most recent year for this draw data. And next year, after the 2025 draws happen, we'll get that data and we'll update it. So in 2026, you'll be looking at 2025 data. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's go and actually do a live demo of this product. So the first thing is there's a couple ways to get to onX Hunt Research Tools. First of all, you have to be an onX Elite member. If you're not an onX Elite member, if you're a premium or an unpaid member, you can upgrade. You can use this. We have a elite trial that you can get into this tool. But first things first, how to get there. If you're on web map, this is our web map. So it's basically onX that's on your phone, but it's on the computer. You can go into over here where it says Elite, and you can go into Elite Tools, and this will pop up this menu, and you can click on onX Hunt Research Tools, and you can hit Try It Out. The other way to get there is if you're on our website, you can go into Application Season, and you can find this. You can also go down here into Elite Membership and to Research Tools, and this will talk about all the things that are in the research tool. It gives you some draw deadlines, and you can actually launch onX Hunt Research Tools. So now we're in the tool. So let's clear this out. This is the blank state that you'll get to when you land on this page. So first things first, we want to go into our profile and set our residency and set our points. So when you land here, before you even start searching and playing around, my recommendation is to go up here in the upper right-hand corner and click this icon menu. This will open this tab and then go into my profile. So first things first, I want to make sure that my residency is set. So you can go in here. If it had nothing in it, you would see just a blank residency. I'll set my residency. I'm from Colorado. We also allow you to set 2 residencies or multiple residencies, more than 2. Some states allow you to have lifetime residency. If you've lived there, you can pay for a lifetime residency through their game and fish department. I know New Mexico is one of those. So maybe I want to say I have a lifetime residency in New Mexico, and I'm currently a resident of Colorado. So now my residency is set. The next thing to do is to go over here to your points and set your points. So in Colorado, you'll see I've got a bunch of points set. I can add another species here. Let's set deer, preference point, and now we can add, let's say I've got 4 deer points. Let's see, I don't have any elk points right now, but just for example's sake, let's say I had 6. And you can do this for all the states that we have in the tool that currently allow points. So let's say Arizona, I can add, desert sheep. So now I got my points set. I can go back to my profile and you'll see all those points have been saved. Now let's go back to the draw tool. I've got my profile set up and I want to start searching. So first things first, I'm going to pick my species. So I'm going to pick a species. Let's look for elk. That's the most popular. Now I'm going to go over to states. I'm going to pick a state. I'm going to do Colorado just because I'm a Colorado native or Colorado resident, and the Colorado draw is coming up here soon. Pardon me, in 2 weeks, April 1st. And then I can fire that search. I can hit the red button and it'll fire all of these results. You'll see there's 1,636 results. So that's a ton. And so I want to start filtering this. I want to start whittling this down to results that are going to make the most sense for me. So first filter I'm going to do is the weapons filter. I'll go in here and I want to look at rifle hunts this year. I want to hunt elk with a rifle. I've got no points. I've got other stuff to do in September, so I probably won't be able to do an archery hunt. So first, let's do that. Now you'll see it drop down from 1,600 to 1,200 results. Now I want to filter a few more things. And so I'm going to go over what all of this data is in this tool, but I'm going to start filtering it first so that I can get to just a few results rather than 1,200. And as you can see, if I keep scrolling, it'll just keep scrolling through all 1,200 of these. That's too many results for me to look through. So the next thing I'm going to go is into this more filters button here at the top of the results. And I'm going to click this and I'm going to say, I just want to hunt male. So when I click male, this is going to give me results for bull tags or either sex tags. If I click female, it would be female tags or either sex tags as well. But I want to look at male. We've got a couple other filters here. If you want to look at rut activity, hunting during the rut, veteran only tags, youth only tags. But for now, I'm going to look at male and see how much that whittles down the search results. All right, now we're working with some better numbers. We were at 1,200, now we're at 500 results. So let's see what other filters I can do. I can search specifically by unit. I live in Fort Collins, so that's up by unit 9. I know unit 19 is up here. Let's see, 7 and 8 is up here. That sounds good. Let's apply that. Now I'm down to 16 results. All right, now I can actually start cooking with this, okay? So now that I have these results, I actually want to sort these. So I filtered them down to less results. Now I want to sort them. So our default sort is by draw odds. And you can see here we can go high to low or low to high. And I can also harvest, or I can also sort by unit name or harvest rate or hunting pressure. But let's go back to draw odds and I can sort that. And now I've got this list sorted by draw odds. So the highest percent that I can get, looks like most of these tags in this unit with 5 points are 100%. I'll show you guys some units that have more varied results, but that's ultimately the best way to get down to the number of results I want to be looking at. So now the next thing you'll notice is we got this big map over here. So when I click one of these cards, it is going to move the map to the unit that I'm looking at. So here's unit 9, here's unit 19. Let's see what else. Here's unit 7. So it's going to show me in here how much public and private land there is. So it looks like all this green is national forest. You know, if you know our app well, you know, yellow is BLM. Some of this is private land as well. So like unit 7 looks pretty good. There's a lot of national forest in there. Unit 19 looks pretty good. There's a bunch of forest in there. Unit 9, just because I know it, there isn't a lot of public land. This area up here is a city or county land. So unit 9 might not be that great because I don't actually have any access in unit 9. So immediately I can go back in here and say, you know, unit 9 actually isn't that interesting. Let's cut that out. Now I'm down to 12 results. Okay. So now that we're down to 12 results, let's talk about some of the other functionality in this tool and what all this data means. So first off, you've seen all the sorts, you've seen the search by unit, you've seen the filters button. Now, this one thing we haven't talked about is the share button. So I can click this share button and it gives me a URL that's shareable that will save all of these search parameters, all of these filters, all of my selections, and I can share that with my group that I'm going to be hunting with. So I can share that with my buddies and they'll be able to come in here if they're an elite onX user and be able to see this exact same list of 12 results. And we can talk about which ones do we want to apply for. Some of the other things you can do if you want to go a little more in depth in the map is you can click Open onX Hunt, and this will open your onX web map right to the same unit you were looking at in Hunt Research Tools. And so if you've got markups in here, you'll see all my markups are starting to come up. If you've got markups in here, it'll show you all your markups, and you can actually start doing some e-scouting. And so that'll take you right to web map. That's this button again. Or if you just want to see data and you don't want to see all these fancy cards, you can click this red button and go directly over to table view. Table view is a simple spreadsheet. It makes it a little bit easier to view if you're more into spreadsheets than you are into a user interface that what we call list view or map view looks like. And from table view, you'll see all the same information and you can sort. Instead of having that sort drop down menu, you can sort just by the column here. harvest rate. You can sort high to low, low to high, public land, all the same sorts, but it's in table view, so it's a little easier to read. Now let's go back to map view, and we're going to talk about all of this information. So what is this showing me on here? Let's actually go to some units that might have some more variability with my 5 points. So let's do unit 60, unit 8, and unit. These are random. I don't know what these units are all about, but let's see. Did we get any? Let's add another couple units. Let's add 99 and 51. So now we've got a varied list here. We've got a couple hunts that aren't going to be available at my 5 points. And so let's go through what this is showing us. So right here, it's showing us what unit is. So the unit name. Let me actually zoom in just a little bit so it's easier for you guys to see. So you can see unit 8, and then any additional units this tag might be good in. So it's also good in unit 7. It's showing me that it's in Colorado and what the hunt code is. So if I were to apply for this unit, it would be this hunt code. I know from being in Colorado, this stands for elk male, unit 7, second season rifle. This is an elk tag. It's a bull elk tag, so the bag type. And then what weapon I can use, rifle. It also shows me last year's hunt dates. So if I wanted to filter by date, I could do that. You can see in here we have a date range filter. If you wanted to filter by specific date, you know you can only hunt in November or you can only hunt in October. And it also says the season name, second rifle. And then this is showing me my draw odds. So at 5 points, which is what my profile was set to, I have 100% draw odds for this. So now if I go back in here, just to show you the difference, this is going to be, so like, let's go back and just say I have 0 elk points and go back to the tool. Now you're going to see at 0 elk points, so it's specific. This one had a 99.9% chance. What that usually means, if 0 points, that this hunt last year, this tag had more tags, more quota than applicants. And so this probably went to the secondary list or even potentially went to a leftover. So min points to draw. This is the preference point draw. So let me find one that has actual preference points. So here's a good example. So this is what I was talking about, the break even point level. So at 1 point last year, this one's probably best, this unit 51 card. At 1 point, last year, anyone with 1 point had a 68.4% chance of getting this tag. So that means anyone with 0 points had a 100% chance of getting this tag. Anyone with 1 point had a 68% chance of getting this tag. And anyone with 2 points or more had a 100% chance of getting this tag. And so maybe I said that wrong. Anyone with 0 to 1 points had 0% chance. Anyone with 1 point at the break even had a chance of getting it. And anyone with over 1 point had a 100% chance. And so if we just remove these filters, let's find some units that are really hard to get. So let's just clear all these and get out of here. And let's go to draw odds. Let's look at ones that are hard to get. So here's a perfect one, unit 76. So this tag last year took 7 points for anyone to draw. So that means anyone from 0 to 6 didn't get this tag. No one that applied with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 points got this tag. 18% of people that applied with 7 points got this tag, and 100% of people with 8 points or more that applied for this tag last year got it. So that's the break-even point. Here's the quota. So moving on, we'll talk about the quota. This unit had 10 tags, or this hunt code had 10 tags. The harvest rate, so this had about a 10% harvest rate. And then we've got some land metrics. So this unit, unit 76, is a total square mileage of 971 square miles. It's almost all public land. As you can see, it's all in the National Forest. And because there was only 10 tags, this had a very low hunt pressure score. You'll notice some of these that have, if we go to hunt pressure, we can sort by these high to low and low to high. So you'll see some of these, like this unit here, unit 231, has 178 square miles, but only 113 square miles of it are public. All this green, all this brown here is private, so you can't hunt it. So there's less, obviously less land. And this one had 2,700 tags given out. And so this has got really high hunt pressure, 15 hunters per square mile. If you want low pressure, you can obviously sort low to high by that. And you can see, again, this unit had only 1 tag for 1,200 square miles, 300 square miles of huntable terrain, very low hunt pressure in unit 84, probably all up here in the San Isabel Forest. So that's what all this data means. And all that data is the same here on table view. So instead of being formatted in a fancy way, you can see we've got the year of the data. So that's here, year of the data. And you can see then we've got the hunt code, what state, what unit, species, species type, it's rifle, what season, season dates, your odds, your break-even point, again, 26, 32. So this tag last year took 32 points to get, how many tags were given, harvest rate, and so on. So you'll see all that same data, just a little bit easier to digest in table view. Let's see, what other features do we have in here? One of the things you'll notice is some of these tags have notes. So if there's a notes section with a little chevron here, you can click that and it will open up what the notes are. This is a ranching for wildlife tag, which is what the W means. So this is on this '06 ranch. Some of these other ones you'll see have different notes. You know, anywhere where there's notes, it's advised that you open that up and take a look because some of these notes might be very specific on where you can hunt. If I change this to Alaska, Alaska's got a bunch of units that have a ton of notes. Let's say I want to hunt mountain goat in Alaska. You'll notice some of these notes are really long. Like this hunt area, you can only hunt a portion of this hunt area. So it's really important that you go and you read these notes that are in here. Because you might not be able to hunt the whole unit. And again, we have those notes in table view. If you go over here and scroll all the way over, you'll see notes here in that last column. The last thing to call out, let's go back to Colorado and let's go back to elk. The last thing to call out is this chevron over here on the side. This will take you to what's called the unit page. And so when you click on this chevron, it'll actually open up a unit page with all the different hunts that happen in that unit. And it'll open by default the hunt that you came into this page from. So this is going to tell you your draw odds. You'll see here, this is a perfect example of a preference point draw hunt that at 32 points, let's actually find one that has, this one's a perfect one, 85. So when you scroll down here, you're going to see the actual draw odds preference chart. So this is where I was saying, this is a little easier to tell. This is the break-even point level. So at 26 points, 33% of those users last year got this tag. At 25 points and lower, everyone had zero. No one drew that tag last year. And then everyone that had 27 points or up, 100% of those users drew that tag. So again, we're talking about this break-even point. That's the level that you would need to even be in the draw for this tag. But some of the other things you'll see on the unit page are a little bit of information about the unit, how big it is. There's a map again you can scroll around and play with. Total square mileage, how much percent of the land in this unit is public, so 16%. And then as you look at these results down here, you'll see a bunch of trend data. So this is that trend data that I was talking about earlier. So this tag is really hard to get, obviously. It takes 26 points. There's only one tag, but no resident tags for this unit because there's only one. And then you can see how many first choice applicants applied for this over the last few years. 74 first choice applicants and how many points it's taken. So it looks like it used to take 25 and then 24, and then it jumped up to 27, and now it's been holding steady at 26. And so this is giving you a little trending data on how this draw has been going. So if everything stays consistent this year, which it probably should, you'll be able to understand what the draw should look like for 2025. I'll give you a good example of a tag that did not stay consistent. Let's go to unit 4. This is the tag I used to hunt. And let's look at a first rifle tag. Let's see here, third rifle. So if we look at this third rifle unit 4, what you'll notice is we had tags available go from 700. Well, that's a bad example, actually. Let's look at another one that might show this a little bit better. Let's look at this one. So we've got trending data here. This is perfect. So we had 1,300 tags in unit 4 for a long time. And then it stepped down to 1,000 tags, 1,100, 1,000. And so this herd was probably diminishing a little bit. And then in 2022, we had that winter kill that I was talking about, and I had to change units. And all of a sudden, this went from 1,300 tags down to 400 tags. And so this unit got hit hard. CPW had to take away some of those tags. But you can see here that the people applying for it stayed pretty consistent, which is why then you see over here in the minimum points required, it shot up from a 0 point tag to a 2 point tag. And so this, by looking at this trending data, I can tell there's something going on here with the herd health. The herd's not that strong. They had to limit tags, and there's too much demand. So now it's going to take me points, and I probably don't want to apply for this unit this year. And so I would keep searching. So that's the unit page. That's where you can see all this break-even data. And then the last thing I want to show you guys here in the tool is we have some notifications. So if there's something special about a state, there'll be a notification. So let's go to New Mexico. So if you wanted to look at anything New Mexico, you'll see this notification pops up. We're currently in the process of adding New Mexico outfitter tags. We don't have them in the tool yet, but you can click on this link and this will take you to a landing page that we've created that explains what outfitter tags are all about, why you should consider them. And then it's got these big buttons at the top and the bottom to actually go view this data. So because we don't have it in the tool yet, we still wanted to get you this information. And so now you can go in, look at this as a spreadsheet, and here's all those outfitter odds. So this tool's new. It's only been around for a year. We're still building all this functionality into it. So if there's some data that isn't available, we're going to give it to you in this manner. We did the same thing for Wyoming. So you'll notice if I go to Wyoming, we've got a notification here as well. So if there's a notification, I highly recommend you click on it, you go read about why there's a notification, why this data is special, and you can go over and you can actually see the data you're looking for. So we didn't want to just leave it out, but we will eventually get it into the tool for you guys. But just know that those notifications are there. So that's the whole tool. We're going to continue to add more species, more data, more filters, more options in the future. You can play around with it. You can play with the map. You can zoom in and zoom out. Obviously, you can go to 3D mode and you can zoom around and see a little bit. Obviously, like I said, you can click on this and it'll open up right to unit 54, which is what we were looking at in there. And so you can very easily go back and forth and do a little bit of e-scouting on the tool and see where you would potentially want to go in. And so lots of functionality, but again, there's going to be more coming. So please stick with us. Throughout the next couple of years, you're going to be blown away at what we're going to bring you guys in this tool. So that's overall the whole tool. A pretty quick overview, but go ahead and play around with it. And we'll, if you guys have questions, shoot them over to us. Go talk with Hunt and Fool. They're our partners. And we'll get you guys set up so that you can feel confident and be successful in your draw this year. So let's go back to, let's go back to the slide deck. So let's go back into here. And ultimately, the main thing after you do all this research, the main thing I want to impress on you guys is check your regulations. Before you apply, always check your regs. The reason why I say this is although this tool is really helpful, again, it's always looking back 1 year. It's always using 2024's data for the 2025 draw. And things can change. Prices can change, draws can change, quotas can change. So go and check out your regs. One of the things I'll show you on this next slide is these regulation pamphlets will always tell you what's new for this year or what updates you need to be aware of. So like in Colorado's brochure, right at the beginning, first page, you'll notice that there's this whole page about what's new. They'll tell you everything that's going on. They'll tell you all the changes in the big game structure. Same with Montana. They've got this highlight section on page, like one of the first pages. This is page 7, but what's changed in the unit in different units. And so make sure that you read your regs. Make sure that you know what's changed before you apply. You don't want to get into your application and apply and then find out, well, whoops, there's no more over-the-counter archery tags for non-residents, which is a change that's going into effect this year in Colorado. So that's really important to know. If you're a non-resident archery hunter, you got to know, like, you got to apply this year. You can't just show up and buy a tag at Walmart anymore. And so make sure you read your regs, make sure you understand the draws, make sure that you're up to date on what's happening. All these changes happen all the time. They document them very well on the state websites and in these brochures. If you guys are looking at Colorado, if you're from Colorado, you know, or you should know that in 2028, there's a bunch of changes coming. One of the big changes that's happening in 2028 is we're going from a preference point draw, 100% preference point draw for elk, deer, um, antelope, bear, turkey, to a 50-50 allocation where 50% of the tags are going to go to preference points and 50% of the tags are going to go in a random draw. And so those people holding points, big point levels, 20, 25 points in 2028 are going to have a whole change to their whole system. And so in the next 3 years, you've really got to figure out your strategy so you're not left holding all these points and half of those tags now going in a random draw, which really benefits the hunters that have fewer points. And so always read your regs. Always double check the hunt codes. Hunt codes change. So if you're in the tool and you see a hunt code, don't just copy and paste that into your application with the state. Make sure you go in your regs and double check that the hunt code has stayed the same. Some states change hunt codes every year, like Arizona. They change hunt codes every year. And so you got to make sure you're applying for the right hunt code. Some states change units. This year, I know that they've added extra hunts in Colorado for antelope, units 87 and 88. And so there's new hunt codes. Some states like New Mexico, they'll split units. They'll go from, I think this year they went from 7 to 7 east and 7 west. And so now there's 2 hunt codes for that unit rather than the old single hunt code for unit 7. And so it's really important that you check your regs because again, our data is from last year. I say this a lot, but I want you guys to really understand it and hear it. Our data from last year isn't going to reflect changes that they've made for this year. So if this year there are 2 new units in unit 7, you need to know that hunt code so you can apply this year, even though our data is looking backwards and looking just at 1 hunt unit. And so really important, check out your regs. Lastly, you guys have a ton of tools here at your fingertips. If you're an elite user, you've got access to this tool, Hunt Research Tools. It tells you all your draw odds, unit research. You can do all of that. You've got access to Hunt and Fool. You get a free digital membership to Hunt and Fool, which gives you access to their draw odds tool. It gives you access to their digital e-magazine that's got a ton of information from their experts on every unit. It gives you a ton of information on trophy potential, all that information. If you want to upgrade your membership with them and do a one-on-one hunt consult, they are the experts in this field. These guys know everything about every unit. Call them. You can sit down with them and talk about what your draw application strategy should be. So utilize Hunt and Fool for sure. They've also got a past tag holder list. So if you get a really special tag like a moose tag in Colorado, that's a once in a lifetime tag, you can go to them and get the previous tag holder list and find out who else has hunted moose the last couple of years in that unit. Because they're never going to hunt it again, they might be likely to give you some intel. Hunt Reminder, you get free access to Hunt Reminder as well. This allows you to set up text and email reminders so you never miss another draw. They're going to email you and text you the week before a draw deadline, the day before a draw deadline, and the day of a draw deadline. So you never miss another draw deadline. Missing draw deadlines sucks. So this one helps a ton. That's free. You also obviously have access to all of onX, a bunch of layers that help you with application season. You can turn on species layers. You can turn on species migration layers. You can turn on slope aspect. You can turn on all sorts of different layers that can really help you understand where you're going to access a unit, if the unit terrain is ideal for your condition and your desires. Do you want to hunt at 13,000 feet? Do you want to hunt at 6,000 feet? Is there BLM land for antelope down in the plains, or is this only a mountain unit? So use your onX to really understand the terrain before you apply. So you don't show up to a state like Colorado and end up hunting at 13,000 feet for antelope. The other thing, onX's blog. onX's blog has a ton of information in it. There's all sorts of articles about application season. There's all sorts of interesting tidbits and tips. And we actually have a state blog for every single state that goes over the updates in the state, goes over the draw process and how their point system works. So make sure you check out the onX blog. And then lastly, of course, go over to our YouTube channel. We've got master classes on there. We've got resources. We've got tips from our ambassadors. We've got advice from our own internal employees like Lake Pickle. He just posted some turkey hunting videos, which are amazing if you're getting into turkey hunting soon here. So make sure you go over to our YouTube channel. You get all that included with your elite. And a lot of this is just free, even if you're not a member. So utilize these resources. They're really helpful. Okay, here's the offer time, and then we're going to get into Q&A. So if you guys want any onX swag, we're doing a 20% off discount on any of our swag. We just got some new spring stuff that looks really awesome. That has to do with turkey hunting, morel hunting, looking for mushrooms. We got a cool t-shirt with like a bear on it. Check out our swag, 20% off with the promo code Masterclass20. That sale is going to be going through April 3rd. And that is shop.onxmaps.com. And it's just on the hunt collection. So you'll see on there when you get to the store, I'll actually show you guys. You'll see on the store, we've got hunt collection, and then there's off-road, backcountry, and fish. But this hunt collection, you can see some of our new hats, some of the new shirts, but there's a whole bunch of stuff on here. If you guys want any onX swag, go check it out. You get 20% off with that code Masterclass20. Okay, so now we're going to move to questions and then stick around for the giveaway. We'll do a giveaway at the end. So we got time for about 5 to 10 minutes of questions if we've got that many. Let's see here. Jack, what do we got on the question front?
We didn't have a ton, and a lot of them got answered by the folks in the background. There was one, I think he said it was a tongue-in-cheek question, but a gentleman named George asked where the elk are. Man, that is the $1,000,000 question. But I will use that as a plug. You did talk about some of our master classes. George says he's famous in there. Yes, sir. Our back catalog of onX master classes, we've got a bunch of elk stuff in there. We did, I think even dating back to 2022, 23, we've got, how to call elk, e-scouting for elk, a bunch of stuff. And I'm kind of planning out our summer masterclass program right now. We're planning to bring on a bunch of folks to, to talk about how to find elk. We're gonna have a few more of those classes. So not scheduled yet, but we're working on that. So I do also want to mention, I don't know if you're ready for it or not, Paul, but we can post the giveaway link in the chat.
Sure. I just wanted to show that what you're talking about on YouTube is all of these master classes. I mean, there's hundreds of them, and you can go back as far as you'd like and look about application season for Wyoming. You can look at, there's shooting skills, there's waterfowl classes, there's how to use trail cams, there's deer stewardship. So there's a ton of these, and I know there's ones in here on how to find elk where they live. There's how to use features in web map like TerrainX. If you guys haven't used TerrainX, that's this feature here where you can actually go in and be able to look at slope aspect and all sorts of interesting things in TerrainX. So there's all sorts of resources. Let me go back one and I'll show you guys a couple other resources since we got time and there aren't a ton of questions. But this is our blog, and you can look up, we have this State of the Union. So all the updates that are happening for application season across the West, that's a really awesome blog to check out. Let me just go to the actual blog itself, and you can see some of these other topics that we have in here. If you want to hunt deer in Arizona, if you're looking at Colorado, we've got these state ones that are out. So like Colorado, this is super important with their deadline coming up. So this is going to talk about what species you can hunt, what's new. This is some tips from Hunting Fool. Talk a little bit about the draw process, your draw deadlines, how the point system works, other links, how licenses are allocated, and then some tips from us here at onX on how to make the most out of your application season. And so you've got access to all sorts of interesting stuff, Oregon. So check out our blog, tons of information in there. And then, yeah, let's get you guys to the giveaway link. We'll leave that up as we answer a couple more questions. So the giveaway link is here. It's bit.ly /HRT101 March. And you guys got to enter tonight by midnight for one of these 2 hats. So we've got our new onX swag. We're going to get you guys, we got 10 of these we're going to give away. So 10 of you guys can win this thing. We'll post this link in the chat as well. And then as you guys are getting in on this this giveaway, looks like a couple more questions have popped up that I'm more than happy to go through.
And the giveaway link's in the chat. I've turned the chat off. So just so that the link doesn't disappear as more people add there. And we have had a couple people write in that they've had trouble with that link. Some phones won't let you click on it for whatever reason, like a security thing. You might have to take a picture of this screen and type it in or copy and paste or something, but you've got until midnight. So it's in the chat. Otherwise, pull it off the screen there and get entered. There was a question, not necessarily an HRT question, Paul, but one I felt like answering. John asked, can I get OTC caribou in Alaska? Alaska still does have some OTC caribou, John. Um, Unfortunately, it seems like every year we're losing more and more opportunities in Alaska for non-residents, particularly when it comes to caribou. I don't know if you're following. Alaska's got a whole other set of rules with like their federal subsistence boards and things like that. So, as sad as it seems, if you have dreams of hunting caribou in Alaska like I do, you probably want to get on it because I try to be optimistic. We might get some of those opportunities back, but it feels like we're losing them every year. So you might want to get on OTC, get on those caribou sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that's a great question there. There's all sorts of over-the-counter and general tags in Alaska, and people think you got to draw everything in Alaska, but there's actually pretty good opportunity for the general hunter, but it's expensive and logistics are challenging. And so if you want to do one of those big hunts, get on it. But this brings up a good point. Over-the-counter tags or leftover tags. We don't have that data right now in HRT. It's only limited draw tags, but in the future, we do want to add over-the-counter data. So if you're an over-the-counter hunter, you could still come in here and pick a unit that has an over-the-counter tag and look at hunt pressure, look at obviously not draw odds, but look at success rate or harvest rate. And so in the future, we do plan on adding some of that data to this tool. And so, there are opportunities for the hunter that hasn't hunted out west. I saw a question in the Q&A that asked, how do I get points? And I know it was answered, but I think one of the good points here is there are opportunities here for the first time hunter that wants to come out west. There's a lot of 0-point hunts. You still have to apply for them, but you can get them with no points. There's a lot of tags that go to the leftover list, which means you can pick them up without a draw or potentially if you missed the draw. And then there's still some over-the-counter opportunities out there. Colorado's got the most of them, but there are other over-the-counter opportunities in the West. And so, this isn't as daunting and scary as it may seem. You can come out here first time hunting and find a hunt. But this tool helps you find better hunts. It helps you figure out how to maximize your points. Obviously, if you have 10 points, you don't want to put in for a hunt that only takes 1 point. You want to maximize those and put in for a hunt that takes 8, 9, 10 points. And so utilize the tool to find those better hunts. Don't burn points on units that it's a waste. Don't put in for units that take 20 points when you only have 2 if you really think you're going to be able to hunt. In a preference point system, you have no chance at getting that. It's not a bonus point draw. Bonus point draws, you do have a small chance with 2 points of getting a tag that usually takes a lot. But in a preference point system, and a lot of states have preference point systems, they take the people with the most points at the top of the list. And so putting in for a 20-point hunt with 2 points is really a waste of your draw, unless your goal is just to get a preference point. And so knowing what you can get and what you can't really helps. And so, yeah, I'll just say, like, go in again. I'll say this, I said at the beginning, go into draw season, go into application season with a strategy. If you're trying to get points, get a point. If you're trying to hunt, make sure that you understand where you can actually hunt and don't just burn your draw. Some states you got to buy points later in the year, knowing that happens. Some states if you don't draw, you got to elect to get a point. Some states you get free points. Some states you got to pay for points. And so you got to know and have a strategy so that eventually you can do that hunt of your dreams. My personal goal is to hunt every year. And so I don't collect a ton of points, but I find great hunting opportunities across the West every year that take 1, 2, 3 points. You can rotate states. So maybe I'll go to Wyoming every 3 or 4 years and I'll hunt New Mexico every 3 or 4 years and Colorado every 3 or 4 years so that I can collect 3 or 4 points in these states and have a better chance than just having 0 points. And so again, just have a strategy, make a plan, use our tool, talk to Hunt and Fool, reach out to our customer support. A lot of our customer support guys are really smart with this stuff and can help you. They're actual hunters. They're here in America. They're in Montana. They're great to chat with. So reach out to us is the big thing, and use these tools to try to figure out where you can hunt and potentially have some good success.
And one thing I'll add, that's all phenomenal advice. One thing I'll add is a lot of times, folks, jump into like a draw system and kind of expect it. Oh man, I'm going to draw this in 10 years, or I'm going to plan out. And like me personally, I have kind of my short-term draw states, my medium term and my long term. And what was short term 5 years ago is now medium term because things have changed. Colorado, Paul mentioned earlier, is totally changing up the draw in 2028. That's going to help some people. That's going to hurt some people. Utah just announced, I think their legislature passed yesterday or the day before, they might be doubling prices of all their tags. That's going to affect, I mean, that's going to cause a lot of people to drop out. I might myself. I don't know if I can swing over 2 grand for an elk tag. Or I'm
Yeah.
just going to say, hey, if I'm hunting Utah, I'm applying for the top units because if it's 2 grand, that's the hunt I want. My point is these systems can always change. Don't count on things being the same 10 years from now as they are today. Your best bet is to, the guys from Hunt and Fool say it all the time. Collect memories, not points.
Yeah.
Go hunting when you can. You might be putting in trying to save up 20 points for a unit. And man, 20 years from now, that unit might not be worth 20 points. It might not be very good. And you could have had, if you hunted every other year, you could have had 10 hunts in that time. So just understand things can always change. A state could at any point say, we're not doing points anymore. We're getting rid of them. We're going to Idaho or New Mexico model. I don't
I mean,
expect that to happen, but they could also cut back on non-resident tags. That's happened in Wyoming in recent years.
yeah.
Happened all over. So
I
things
mean,
are
that's
always
happening.
changing. Hunt when you can.
That's happening in Colorado in 2028. Anyone that's stuck holding 25 points, they're not going to be too happy. So, they've waited 25 years and now the draw system's going to change right out from under them. And half of those tags are going to go to randoms. And so technically someone with 0 points could get that tag that someone with 25 points has been waiting on for 25 years. And so I would say, make sure you understand that and yeah, go hunt, make memories. Um, don't wait. And I know we all want to go on those awesome trophy hunts, but there's great opportunities that don't take 25 points. And like Jack said, in 25 years, who knows what the draw system is going to look like in that state. And so be smart, again, have a strategy. I did see one question that I want to answer, and I think it got answered, but there was a question in there. We got 3, 4 more minutes of how do you know if a tag went to the leftover list? And there is a slight strategy here that you can see. So I'm going to go to table view and I'm going to go at 0 points. I'm going to do my odds from high to low, and let's get rid of all the units. Let's go to Colorado. And this one will give you a little bit of insight. So anything that is showing you here at 100% at 0 points or 99.9% at 0 points, which is a lot of them, at 0 points, 100, everyone that applied for this tag got it. So that means that there was less demand than there was quota. And so I can actually go into this unit page and probably see this trend. And so what you'll see is there were 60 tags and only 8 applicants. That means there was 52 tags left over after the first choice draw. And so this unit went to a second choice, and it could have potentially gone to a third and fourth choice, or even all the way to the leftover list in Colorado. And so when you're in the tool, if you see this, if you see that it's 100% at 0 points, you can double check to make sure that there was more quota than there were applicants. I'll go into another one just to show you. Again, 75 resident tags, 26 non-resident tags. So there was 100 tags total quota, and only 3 applicants. And so a lot of these tags were available as a second choice or as a leftover tag. And so there is a little bit of a strategy there that if you see that, you can potentially assume that if nothing drastic changed in that unit, that there's going to be leftover tags in that unit as well. And so great question. I think that's the last one we'll answer for today. We're running up here on time. We got 1 minute left. I just want to thank you guys again. Again, here's the link to the masterclass. And if you guys need to see it again, here's the link to get a deal on some onX swag. And good luck in the raffle tonight. We'll run those tonight and email 10 of you tomorrow and ship out some hats. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming to this. And please, good luck on your application season and come back for the next masterclass. We really appreciate you guys joining.